Doris Day truly hated him more than anyone. If there were ever an award for a sunny personality and charming smiles, then American actress Doris Day would have surely received one or two. Known for her wholesome girl-next-door image, Doris Day was loved by many in Hollywood, which only added to her popularity. However, behind the bright spotlight was a life filled with quiet pain and suffering. In today's video, we reveal the untold truth about Doris Day and what she endured away from the public eye. Before becoming the Hollywood star she is remembered as today, Doris Day came from very humble beginnings. She was born Doris Marianne Koff on April 3, 1922, the youngest child of Alma Sophia and William Joseph Koff. Coming from a German-American family, she was named after a well-known actress of that era. The family lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, with her mother working as a homemaker and her father as a choir director and music teacher. Doris had two older brothers, one of whom passed away before she was born. Although Doris inherited her musical talent from her father, it was her mother who showed her the most affection, while her father remained emotionally distant. It was later revealed that he had been unfaithful, which led to her parents' divorce when Doris was just 10 years old. From an early age, she showed a strong interest in dancing. Despite feeling extremely nervous at first, she quickly gained confidence and followed her passion, even when it went against her family's strict Catholic beliefs. Her talent soon brought her recognition after joining a local dance group, and she was seen as a rising star. However, tragedy struck just before her family was set to move to Los Angeles, when Doris and her friends were hit by a freight train. The accident badly injured her right leg, and she was only 15 years old at the time. In her memoir, Doris Day, her own story, she recalled not fully understanding the seriousness of her injuries, until her legs could no longer support her the way they once had. It was only after she dragged herself away from the wreck that Doris Day began to examine her leg. She was shocked to discover the jagged ends of shattered bones protruding from her skin, before she suddenly lost consciousness. In an instant, her dream of becoming a professional dancer was destroyed. However, during her long recovery in the hospital, a new passion unexpectedly emerged. As she spent months healing, Doris realized she had a natural talent for singing, often singing along to the radio while confined to her hospital bed. During her recovery, she sang to the music of Duke Ellington, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, and Tommy Dorsey. Yet the singer who captivated her the most was Ella Fitzgerald. There was something about her voice that deeply fascinated Doris, and she would sing along, trying to imitate the subtle phrasing and effortless clarity Fitzgerald was known for. Doris later described her style as casual, yet clean, in the way she delivered every word. Recognizing her daughter's potential, Doris's mother soon arranged singing lessons with Grace Rain. By the third session, Rain was convinced the young girl possessed remarkable ability and began refining her talent, offering Doris 3 lessons a week for the price of 1. 8 months later, Doris landed her first professional singing job, becoming the vocalist for Carlin's Carnival, a radio program on WLW, while also performing at a local restaurant known as Charlie Yee's Shanghai. It was during one of her radio appearances that opportunity finally arrived, when American bandleader and jazz musician Barney Rapp noticed her talent. At the time, he was searching for a female vocalist, and invited Doris to audition. Despite having listened to nearly 200 singers, Rapp ultimately chose her. Still performing under her birth name, he suggested in 1939 that she adopt the name Doris Day, believing her original surname was too long for radio audiences. Rapp was especially drawn to her performance of Day After Day, and soon Doris began working with artists such as Bob Crosby, Jimmy James, and Les Brown. She later toured with Les Brown's band for nearly 2 years, while continuing her vocal work on Bob Hope's weekly radio program. It was during this period that she recorded Sentimental Journey, one of her most enduring songs, which went on to become the unofficial anthem for World War II servicemen. Doris would later credit songwriters Jules Stein and Sammy Cahn for helping launch her acting career. After they were impressed by her rendition of Embraceable You, their support led to her film debut in the musical Romance on High Street. She was recommended for the role in the film, but like many others, Doris Day still had to go through auditions. In the end, she was personally chosen by the film's director, Michael Curtiz. When she learned she had secured the part, Doris was stunned and openly admitted that she had no acting experience. Despite her honesty, Curtiz remained confident in his choice, believing her freckles gave her the look of a true all-American girl. Soon after, Doris appeared in several other films, including the 1949 movie My Dream Is Yours, as well as musical hits such as On Moonlight Bay and By the Light of the Silvery Moon. Her fourth collaboration with Michael Curtiz was another musical, I'll See You in My Dreams, which became her most successful project under Warner Brothers. Between film shoots, her songs from these musicals continued to rank in the top 10, including her 1953 duet with Frank Sinatra titled Young at Heart. Doris Day's major breakthrough came when she landed the role of Ruth Etting in the 1955 musical rom-com Love Me or Leave Me, starring opposite James Cagney. Her performance was widely praised, with Cagney noting her ability to deliver clear and direct emotion without unnecessary excess. However, romantic musicals were not her only strength. In 1956, Doris surprised audiences by starring in Alfred Hitchcock's mystery thriller The Man Who Knew Too Much, revealing a completely different side of her acting range. She went on to take part in numerous projects, but her career reached its peak when she began leading a series of romantic comedies. One of the most successful was Pillow Talk, a role that earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, the only nomination of her long career. She starred alongside Rock Hudson and Tony Randall, and the trio reunited for 2 more films, Lover Come Back and Send Me No Flowers. The early 1960s marked the height of Doris Day's success. She became the top box office actress and the second woman to achieve multiple #1 rankings, a record previously matched only by Shirley Temple. She continued starring in popular hits such as Please Don't Eat the Daisies, That Touch of Mink, The Thrill of It All, and Move Over, Darling. Her final commercially successful film was Do Not Disturb in 1965. Soon after, as the sexual revolution reshaped Hollywood, her star power gradually faded. A few years later, Doris Day quietly stepped away from the spotlight during the 1970s, later revealing in an interview with People the reasons behind her decision to retreat from public life. According to Doris Day, Hollywood was changing, and she was no longer comfortable with what it had become. She explained that it was not the town she once knew, and while she remained open to taking on new projects if the right opportunity appeared, she no longer cared for living under the Hollywood spotlight. Like many celebrities, Doris found herself trapped by her cheerful image and innocent persona, feeling increasingly suffocated by the very qualities that made her famous. She was often cast as modest and pure characters, a pattern that earned her the nickname the world's oldest virgin. Doris later addressed this label in her book, and in a separate interview with PBS, she spoke more openly about it. She admitted that she carried the reputation of being Miss Goody Two-Shoes, America's Virgin, and said it might shock people to hear her belief that no two people should marry without first living together. Beyond the girl next door image, Doris also struggled with deep insecurity about her appearance. She genuinely believed she was not attractive enough. Director Norman Jewison, who worked with her on The Thrill of It All and Send Me No Flowers, revealed his surprise at her self-image, stating that Doris never believed she was beautiful. He said he found her stunning, as did millions of fans and everyone who had worked with her, yet Doris remained unconvinced. Her co-star James Garner shared a similar view, even admitting that he preferred working with Doris over Elizabeth Taylor, another major star of the era. According to Garner, every project Doris touched turned into box office success. He described her as sexy without realizing it, a quality that only made her more appealing. Behind her bright on-screen persona, Doris Day's personal life told a very different story. When it came to love, she experienced repeated heartbreak through 4 marriages. Her first marriage was to trombonist Al Jordan, whom she married at just 17 years old. At the time, she was struggling with the demands of touring and performing with big bands, and the marriage quickly revealed itself to be far from the fairy tale she imagined. Only 2 days after their wedding, Doris discovered Jordan's violent nature when he struck her after seeing her receive a wedding gift from one of his bandmates. The abuse continued for months. Doris later admitted she would have left him sooner, but her pregnancy with her son, Terry, kept her trapped. As a result, the actress endured a period of fear and suffering behind closed doors. Doris Day later revealed that the abuse from her first husband went far beyond what the public ever knew. She admitted that Al Jordan once held a gun to her pregnant stomach, threatening her while she was carrying their child. She gave birth to a son named Taryn, known as Terry Paul Jordan, who later took the surname of her third husband, Martin Melcher. Despite the fear, Doris eventually stood her ground and managed to force Jordan out of their Cincinnati home in 1943, refusing to submit to his intimidation any longer. Her second marriage was to saxophonist George William Weidler, who also introduced her to Christian Science. Although the relationship was brief, Doris embraced the faith and continued practicing it long after their separation. They married on March 30, 1946, and divorced just over 3 years later on May 31, 1949. Around this period, Doris also dated her future co-star and eventual U.S. President, Ronald Reagan. The two worked together on the 1952 film The Winning Team. In her book, Doris described Reagan as a talented dancer and a highly social, outgoing man. She was especially impressed by how articulate he was, noting that his speaking ability made him seem destined for public life. However, their romance soon faded. On April 3, 1951, Doris married her third husband, American film producer Martin Melcher. He embraced her son Terry as his own, giving him his surname. Doris had first met Melcher while fleeing her violent first marriage, and she genuinely believed she had finally found her happy ending. That illusion shattered after Melcher's death, when Doris discovered he had squandered most of her fortune, leaving her deeply in debt. Worse still, he had secretly committed her to projects without her consent, including The Doris Day Show. In a 1995 interview, Doris recalled how overwhelming it felt. She admitted she was emotionally unwell after Melcher passed away, and the idea of working in television was unbearable. Yet her son Terry later explained that she had also been signed on for multiple television specials, all without anyone consulting her. Despite her reluctance, The Doris Day Show went on to enjoy a successful 5-year run from 1968 to 1973. Financially, Doris eventually found relief. She was awarded $22 million after winning a lawsuit against Melcher's former business partner, Jerome Rosenthal, who was found guilty of fraud and malpractice. Her fourth and final marriage was to Barry Comden in 1976, a restaurant maitre d' she met at one of her favorite dining spots. Knowing her love for animals, Comden won her over by giving her scraps and bones for her pets. Ironically, this same devotion to animals later caused their separation, as Comden complained that Doris cared more for animals than she did for him. Despite her radiant public image, Doris Day's personal relationships were marked by repeated disappointment. Although she had only one child, Terry grew up to become a successful producer. Through his work, he crossed paths with musician and cult leader Charles Manson and even considered signing him to a record deal. That connection turned terrifying in 1969, when Manson carried out the infamous Tate murders at Benedict Canyon, a home once occupied by Terry and his girlfriend, Candice Bergen. Doris learned of the tragedy through a radio broadcast and soon discovered that Manson harbored a deep resentment toward her son. Fearing for their safety, mother and son were placed under round-the-clock protection. Terry later took control of managing Doris's career and wrote that he acted as the parent most of the time. He passed away in 2004 after a long battle with melanoma. Doris later shared that her song My Buddy was written for him, saying in a 2011 interview that she missed him deeply and considered him her closest companion. In her later years, Doris Day became inseparable from animal welfare causes. Her passion for protecting animals dated back to the 1950s, when she witnessed animals being mistreated while filming The Man Who Knew Too Much. The sight left her heartbroken and marked the beginning of a lifelong commitment to defending those without a voice. The mistreatment of animals disturbed Doris Day so deeply that she refused to continue filming unless they were handled properly. She demanded that feeding stations be set up and that the animals be fed daily before production resumed. Nearly 2 decades later, her commitment grew stronger. In 1971, she co-founded Actors and Others for Animals alongside fellow Hollywood stars such as Angie Dickinson, Mary Tyler Moore, and Jane Meadows, a group that openly opposed the wearing of fur. In 1978, Doris went on to establish the Doris Day Pet Foundation, an independent non-profit organization dedicated to supporting causes that promote animal welfare. The organization is now known as the Doris Day Animal Foundation, or DOF, and works closely with another group she founded in 1987, the Doris Day Animal League. Beyond animal rights, Doris also supported HIV and AIDS awareness, contributing to fundraising efforts and medical research. While many Hollywood stars continued acting well into old age, Doris Day chose a different path. She retired in her early 50s, stepping away from fame to focus on activism and family. After leaving the spotlight, she lived quietly in Carmel by the Sea, California, surrounded by her beloved pets and adopted stray animals. On May 13, 2019, Doris Day passed away at her home after battling pneumonia. She was 97 years old. The news was announced by the Doris Day Animal Foundation, and in accordance with her wishes, no funeral service was held and no grave marker was placed. If there had ever been an award for a sunny disposition and charming smile, American actress Doris Day would have surely received more than one. Known for her girl-next-door image, she was widely loved throughout the industry, a factor that only increased her popularity. However, behind the warmth and brightness was a life filled with hardship. In today's story, we uncover the untold truth about Doris Day and the suffering she endured behind the limelight. Before becoming the Hollywood star she is remembered as today, Doris Day began from modest beginnings. She was born Doris Marianne Koff on April 3, 1922, the youngest child of Alma Sophia and William Joseph Koff. She came from a German-American family and was named after Doris Kenyon, a well-known actress of the time. The family lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, with her mother working as a homemaker and her father employed as a choir master and music teacher. She had two older brothers, the eldest having died before she was born. Although Doris inherited her musical ability from her father, it was her mother who showed her the most affection. Her father remained distant, and it was later revealed that he had been unfaithful, leading to her parents' divorce in 1932, when Doris was just 10 years old. From a young age, she showed interest in dancing. Though initially overwhelmed by nerves, she soon developed confidence and pursued her passion, even when it conflicted with her family's strict Catholic values. She joined a local dance team and quickly became known for her talent. Doris might have become a professional dancer if tragedy had not intervened. The night before her family was set to move to Los Angeles, she and her friends were struck by a freight train. The accident shattered her right leg. She was only 15 years old. In her book, Doris Day, her own story, she recalled not realizing how severe the injury was at first, only remembering that her legs could no longer support her the way they once had. It was only after she dragged herself away from the wreckage and saw the sharp ends of broken bones protruding from her leg that she lost consciousness. In that moment, her dream of dancing ended, but it also marked the beginning of a new passion. During her long recovery in the hospital, Doris discovered her natural gift for singing, often singing along with the radio as she healed. Among all the singers she listened to, the one Doris Day admired most was the legendary Ella Fitzgerald. There was something in Fitzgerald's voice that completely captivated her. Doris once said she would sing along, trying to catch the subtle shading in her voice, the casual yet clean way Ella delivered every lyric. Noticing her daughter's growing talent, Doris's mother soon arranged singing lessons with Grace Rain. By the third session, Rain was convinced Doris had exceptional potential. She refined her skills and even offered 3 lessons a week for the price of 1. 8 months later, Doris landed her first professional job as a singer. She became the vocalist for Carlin's Carnival, a WLW radio program, while also performing at a local restaurant called Charlie Yee's Shanghai. It was during one of her radio appearances that fate intervened. American bandleader and jazz musician Barney Rapp noticed her and invited her to audition, as he was searching for a female vocalist. Despite hearing nearly 200 singers, Rapp chose Doris. At the time, she was still using her birth name, so in 1939, he suggested she adopt the name Doris Day, believing her surname was too long for radio audiences. Rapp was especially taken by her performance of Day After Day, and soon Doris began working with musicians such as Bob Crosby, Jimmy James, and Les Brown.